So today we're talking about multi-vendor backups. So the first reason you might want to worry about your backups is unmanaged change can hurt you. Just not knowing what happened in your network could cause some issues for you. The next reason is you might have no centralized configuration repository for your multi-vendor network. The days of having a single vendor network are pretty close to gone. So having one tool where you can have all your configurations all in one central location, that's pretty interesting. The other reason is GRC requirements. You might just need to have backups of everything because SOX compliance or any of the other various GRC regulations might dictate that you have to have weekly or monthly backups. So before we get into this, let's take a look quickly at the logic flow. So IMC by default, the first thing it's going to do is it's going to look at the terminal protocol. So this is defined on the resource page. So are you either going to connect to it through Telnet or SSH? If you are using SSH, your only choice really is to back up through SFTP. And this does kind of make sense if you think about this. If you're using an encrypted management protocol, you probably don't want to send your backups across your network in clear text. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is look at the Telnet. So is the SNMP backup supported within IMC? Do we have a device adapter written to be able to support SNMP? Then that's great, that works. And if not, we're going to go to Telnet and we're just going to basically launch it through a CLI script. And in all cases, eventually at the end, you're going to get to a backup. So now that we understand the logic, let's get right into things. So let's go down here and we'll back up as Cisco Router. To start out with, so Cisco 2811. You can see here Cisco 2811, the IP address, all the usual information. First thing we're going to do is make sure that the login type, so this is the terminal protocol, is this Telnet or is this SSH, right? We also want to make sure that the Telnet, we actually have the credentials right. Right, so in this case, we've got the username, password plus super password. Cisco does require the enable password, so that's where we're going to come into the super password here. Everything's good here. Okay, great. Let's go back into resources. Okay. Click on switches and we'll get right into our next device. So now multi-vendor networks, they don't just mean Cisco. So today we've got a Juniper EX4200. You can see here it's in fact a Juniper switch running Junos, obviously. Same thing here. We're going to go in and we're going to look at the terminal, the resources, and make sure that we have the admin and the proper password in. Okay, everything's good there. And the last one, let's go back into our switches again here, and let's take a look at this HP 5500. So this we set up last week to do SSH, so we're going to continue doing that. And again, we're going to want to go down and actually make sure that the SSH password is correct. So admin, we have the password, some other parameters here. If we wanted to, if we didn't want to use a password, we wanted to use some of the other options here, we have that as well. Click OK. So now we're going to go back Service, Configuration Center, and go over to Options. So now we need to set the transfer protocol. So this is what protocol IMC is going to be using. So by default, my system's set up to use FTP as the default transfer protocol. I've got some devices that have some larger files, larger than 32 meg max. So that's what I want to use here. So first we're going to click on the Juniper. We're going to make sure that we're running Tftp as the transfer mode. So this is just one option we have. We're going to click OK. There we go. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to look at the HP 5500 EI and ensure that the SFTP. So in this case, it is already turned on, but we will we'll take a second look at this. Just verify SFTP is ensure turned on. Click OK. Go down to the bottom. Verify TFTP. And again, the 2811 here, we don't have to specifically put something in to say FTP because that, of course, is the default resource transfer protocol, right? So I don't have to have this in the list as its specific mode. I'm going to click OK to verify this. Up at the top of the screen, you can see that the setting file transfer mode has succeeded. Now we're going to go back in the configuration center, and we're going to select the three devices, the 2811, the Juniper EX4200, and the HP 5500EI. And we're going to go back up to the top and click up the backup configuration button. So now we wait for this process to go through here. Cisco is good. The HP 5500EI is good. And the Juniper is good, and we're good to go here. See, succeeded, backup done. All of our configurations have been successfully put into IMC. So now we can go back into the configuration center. We can go into the Cisco 2811. Look at the running config specifically, latest running config here. Let's take a look at that. This is a pretty standard Cisco configuration. Some DHCP, some firewall rules. Click back. Go into the Juniper. Let's go into the latest running config. This is our EX4200 again. So you will notice the configuration here will look quite a bit different than what you might be used to on an HP device or some of the Cisco devices that you may have seen. Again, you can look at the Juniper configuration, and at this point, we can pull it into the configuration repository, create configuration templates, all those kind of things. Click the back button, and of course, just to for the sake of completeness, let's go in and look at the HP 5500EI running configuration. And we'll be able to have a look at that, and once this pops up, we will see the HP configuration, which is a standard HP ComWare-based configuration. System name, Telnet servers in there, SFlow is configured. See, we do have that flow level visibility that we saw in the NTA earlier video. We got some VLANs, radius policy for centralized authentication. All that stuff is in here, right? So that's backing up your multi-vendor network in a nutshell. See you guys next time on the next IMC Intelligent Management tutorial.